left school, I went to university and studied a diploma in business and leisure, and it was one of the first diplomas and qualifications in the UK in the early 1980s. And it was what was called a thin sandwich course. So what you did is 6 months in university and then 6 months in industry, and it allowed us then to learn the theory about working in the practical side. So when we all graduated with a higher national diploma in business and leisure, and also a diploma in sports coaching, we all got jobs very, very quickly, because we had that practical application from what we'd learned at the university. A number of years later, I did a postgrad course in the UK called a Diploma in Management Studies, a DMS. And then I've had a philosophy of continual professional development, and with a very broad experience that ranges from managing leisure centres to managing sports facilities to managing museums, art galleries and the arts for local government. I've continually been learning all my life, and I think that's one of the most exciting things we can do in this sector of leisure. And now people are talking about health as though it's a new thing. When we were working in health and lifestyle and health promotion in the mid-80s, and learning what that really meant. So it's really good that the rest of the world is catching up, and it's just brilliant to share that with people. Yeah, ActiveXchange is an aggregator of data. So it brings together public data, such as ABS, Bureau of Statistics data in terms of demographics. It brings together usage from points of sale systems in leisure centres, and then it brings together third-party data, which is how people are spending their time, what they buy. They bring it all together so we can actually identify the people who are using leisure centres, who are joining sports clubs, or who belong to something. And from that data, we can actually create avatars of the people who are members of the facility, the programme, the sport, and then identify where other people who are similar to that avatar are, and we can then market to them. So we do a lot of work on bringing all the data together for that. We also bring the data together on supply and demand. So how many people are living in a particular area to play hockey, and have we got enough hockey fields if we can convert that demand in terms of what's needed, or a new leisure centre, and what should be in the leisure centre that's going to make people happy. And we're just developing a new product at the moment which actually looks at the impact of active leisure or recreation can have on the health of the community. So we've got the data for a particular postcode example or a particular municipality, which actually looks at the acute and chronic disease levels within that municipality by every 5-year cohort. So we can then identify where we can put interventions or programs like walking football or walking netball for the older people, or fun runs for younger people, which then can identify how they're matching the physical activity levels and the intensity levels to have a health gain. From the health gain, we can then identify by people being active what the saving is in terms of acute and chronic disease. And that gives a complete picture of the social return on investment for the health and the economic benefits in a local area, from people being more active, being involved in leisure programs, being involved in sports clubs and facilities, and what it means in terms of long-term financial benefits of getting people more healthy. Yeah, great questions there. I think the one thing that COVID has shown us over the last 2 years is that government, when they want or when they can, use health data to actually make decisions to close areas down, to hibernate things, or indeed to open back up. What we need is for other departments of government to actually use the same or similar data to identify future demands, have a look at future facilities, have a look at targeting particular cohorts with interventions that will make whole of society healthier. So I'm not sure that they are yet, but we've started the journey. In New South Wales, the Office of Sport around Sydney has funded ActiveXchange to identify supply, demand and membership for about 30 sports over the last 2 years. From that information, sports clubs are being encouraged to apply for grants using the data that ActiveXchange has given them as part of the program to justify why they need new facilities, new programs or refurbishments. So I think there are really great examples in Australia where that's happening. ACT government has done the same, Queensland government and WA governments. They're all embracing the technology and the data to try and make a difference to supply, demand, and or the priorities where resources need to do. We've got to do it nationally, and hopefully Sports Australia will pick up on this over the next year. Great question. I think that there is a gap at the moment. I think it comes down to who holds the data and who holds the data, and then who can actually apply some rigor and the research to convert the data into insights, and with the insights we can make more knowledgeable decisions. The research that academia is doing is absolutely phenomenal, but they may only be doing it on a small cohort. By using the data with ActiveXchange, we can model those results to a mass participation. And that's where I think academia and the industry can work together. The industry has the data in leisure centres, in membership, in usage, in intensity of participation. And if academia has got projects with insights on smaller numbers, we can then help them tester up. By combining both academics and the applied side in the industry, we can make generational difference to how we look at people, how we look at their sedentary lifestyles, how we activate them, how we really make it more exciting and a compelling reason for them to be active, as one example.
Thank you, Martin.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And what do you do for leisure?
I look at leisure in a number of ways. On the physical side, I keep myself relatively fit and healthy, and by going running, 5k, 10k runs, probably 4 or 5 times a week. I'd like to get back up to 6 or 7 times, and that just allows me to eat and drink a few things I shouldn't, and allows me to stay fit enough to do the work that I'm doing. Mentally, I love going around and watching shows, Moulin Rouge, which I haven't got to, so I'm hoping you'll enjoy that tonight. Going to art galleries, and being creative. I love just being creative at home, whether that be in the garden, my collection of wine, or just developing new frameworks for work. I just love being innovative and being creative.
Thank you. And what do you do for leisure?
I look at leisure in a number of ways. On the physical side, I keep myself relatively fit and healthy, and by going running, 5k, 10k runs, probably 4 or 5 times a week. I'd like to get back up to 6 or 7 times, and that just allows me to eat and drink a few things I shouldn't, and allows me to stay fit enough to do the work that I'm doing. Mentally, I love going around and watching shows, Moulin Rouge, which I haven't got to, so I'm hoping you'll enjoy that tonight. Going to art galleries and being creative. I love just being creative at home, whether that be in the garden, my collection of wine, or just developing new frameworks for work. I just love being innovative and being creative.